welcome back. This is This Week in White Supremacy. My name is Jasiri X. I'm co-founder and CEO of One Hood Media. If this is your first time, welcome. You know, we're going to have a good conversation and discussion about the current happenings and goings on in politics. I mean, we're here in Pittsburgh. We just witnessed firsthand the combination of the VP and president coming together to defeat a common foe. We'll get into that a little bit later on because we cannot start the show without acknowledging the person to my right who goes by Miracle. What's up, Miracle?
Oh, he's so extra. Always so extra.
No, I think we need to add this to Miracle. Hold on.
Okay.
This is how we're gonna do it.
We got a new drop?
Well, no.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Okay.
big blessing with a big blessing. You know, turn up.
Turn up.
Miracle in
Yes.
full effect.
Fresh from the Labor Day parade.
Oh my God, I walked.
Okay.
I got over 2 miles in.
Okay.
This is not what I said when I was on my weight loss journey. But yes, we got 2 miles in.
Look.
Because Pittsburgh is a union town. Shout out to,
Yes.
the Pittsburgh are, pup people because they're on strike.
Oh, I didn't know that. So that shirt is for what?
The Pup News, because the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is on strike.
Okay, that's their shirt.
So this is their shirt that they were
dope.
selling to raise money.
Okay.
We're, Uniontown.
Come on. Shout out
We'll
to
want to
them.
know who we are. It's the union.
Yeah, and it's a lot. I think the nurses are about to go on
Western
strike.
nurses are about to go on strike.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's a lot.
just pay people.
Just pay people.
a living wage, and we don't have to worry about all of
Let them
this, y'all.
live. Let us live. And my brother.
It's your boy, Trouble in the Last, Never Like Supremacy.
Yes.
Next Level Shaman.
Yes. I was trying to think of something. I can't think of it. I'll come back to that. Something that I was like, well, the L. No, go ahead. My brother, Farouk.
Salted almonds is delicious.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
You like salty nuts. Okay. Is that what you thought?
Okay.
You like your nuts salts?
He said, twinning.
A little bit of flavor.
He said, guess what I was told the other day? Fun fact, we'll start at the top and not the end. What was the song?
You said that.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's a nice little start.
Yes.
You know what?
Actually,
You know what? I think this is a great time for me to read this on the air.
Nuts unless it melts in your mouth. Child.
I would like to read this right now.
Okay.
Oh,
To the Honorable Minister Jasiri X, effective immediately. This is my letter of resignation from One Hood Media. I will be moving on to greener pastures.
Come on, bro. We'll get you some salty nuts. It's all the salty nuts that you want to eat.
Pause. Jesus Christ. That's why I said almonds. That's why I
It's not
specified.
almond a nut?
Is it almond?
Almond's technically a fruit.
Yeah, almond's something else.
Or a cashew's a fruit. I'm sorry, cashew is fruit. Yeah.
Well, to get started, we did have,
I'm
again,
about to Google this.
Cashew's a fruit. Look how it grows. It's crazy.
yesterday was Labor Day. We record on Tuesdays for those that don't know. If you're new, and if you're new to this, it's going to be probably more wild and inappropriate stuff as the podcast goes on. But we had a visit, Labor Day. Pittsburgh is a union town, like Miracle said, from not just Vice President Kamala Harris,
Yeah.
but also
Skeletor.
arrested, invigorated. When Joe Biden was talking, I was like, look at this man. All he needed was some rest.
Some prune juice.
All
He's
he
ready.
needed was a schedule that said, look, once it hits 5 o'clock, don't talk to me.
His tapioca pudding.
Yeah, that's all.
He can sit down and play Parcheesi with the rest of it.
Can you play Joe Biden's comments? And it was interesting because he opened up for Kamala. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, brother, it's going, it's on. So he opened up and as he brought, Vice President Harris to the stage, this is what Joe Biden sounded like.
Should be a historic pro-union president. Yeah. So folks, we got one more job to do together. Let me ask you, are you ready to fight? Yeah. Are you ready to win? Yeah. Are you ready to elect Kamala Harris our next president of the United States of America? In the process, are you ready to make Donald Trump a loser again?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Talk your shit, Joe.
Yo, every exclamation point, he just surprised that he hasn't died yet. Like, he just looks like he's surprised to be alive.
Again, he sounded good. He sounded fresh. You know what I'm saying? He sounded invigorated. He's about to hit the campaign trail to support, his vice president. Do you think an invigorated, I'm coming to you, Miracle Joe Biden, will he have an effect on this upcoming election? Positively or negative? Uh-oh.
The fact that y'all thought that was well rested is what scares me. But I do think he will help bring in the more conservative, moderate people.
Definitely.
Who are already there. It's clear that right now Harris' team is really focused on bringing in conservatives and Republicans to her base because there really hasn't been any direct engagement with progressives. So I think he is the person who's trying to get the moderates, some of the more conservative and the libertarian independent folks.
True.
And to back her.
What is the exact definition of a libertarian? I'm sorry, I've never been clear on that.
Yeah, again, I would have to tell you to consult your friend Google. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know off top.
Or Miracle.
Miracle, what's a libertarian?
Libertarians technically are supposed to be people who believe in like freedom.
Yeah.
With like a little bit of government, many government restrictions. But essentially they have basically become Republicans who just support.
It says
Who likes bike lanes?
Political philosophy that places a strong emphasis on the value of liberty. They advocate for the expansion of individual autonomy and political freedom. It's wild because
they're essentially Republicans who support pro-choice.
But you would think that a libertarian would look at the Republican Party now and they're banning books. They're banning
Brooklyn,
the abortion choice. They're banning all of these things. And you would think that they would look at the Republican Party and say they're not the party of liberty or freedom. And because remember, it used to be like Republicans were like small government and the government doesn't want to be involved. And it's like now it seems like they're involved in all of these decisions, particularly around reproductive rights and reproductive health for women.
Republicans said we believe in small government for Caucasian white men. For the rest of you, you need Big Brother to help you stay away from us.
Because you small brain minorities aren't intelligent enough to think for yourselves. That's essentially what they're running with now.
Now, Kamala
especially JD Vance.
I mean, they've always had that because if you think of like when we're conversations around ending of slavery and this idea that like black people cannot govern themselves.
True.
They need someone to save them, and they need, even think about how we founded HBCUs. It was people were saying these black people need someone to save them and instruct them and teach them how to have jobs because they need support and can't stand on their own. So that idea has always permeated U.S. policy, but now we're seeing a return to it because they're like, oh, it's too many of you. And so now we need to control the children that you're having, the people that you're marrying, the jobs that you're creating, because now you're getting too independent, too close, and too good for our comfort.
And remember, whenever we were left alone, we had these thriving communities like Tulsa, like Rosewood in Florida, and white people came and burned them down. You know what I'm saying? Like upset that we were independent. And it's really kind of what the Republican Party is now, right? They're like really trying to burn this thing down. But Kamala also spoke and, mentioned Donald Trump, and some people in the crowd, had some words for that as well. Can you play that clip?
I would just like to add that she looks amazing.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Who does?
Kamala.
Pull us backward. Including back to a time before workers had the freedom to organize.
He's going to jail.
Well, the courts will handle that, and we will handle November. How about that?
He's going to jail.
We'll handle November. Let the courts handle that other thing. But we're not going back.
Okay. Pittsburgh, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to jail. I mean, but when is that? Is that the 18th? It's this month,
it's
right?
Sometime this month.
This month, Trump will be sentenced.
Yeah.
Let's
go.
If he gets sent to jail.
I got a crush on Kamala, man. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, tutus? Yeah, like, yo.
That is a married woman.
I'm aware, but I'm a professional side nigga. So it's like, what we talking about here?
He said, just because there's a goalie
Yes, doesn't mean you're going to shoot
Can't
your.
score. That's for Tomato.
Okay, so
number two, he said she's beautiful, so I don't care that she be up here locking up Negroes.
Oh,
she's beautiful.
What is that?
He said
the internet has debunked that.
He said, "Lock me up, Kamala." That's what.
Hey, what Wayne say? All she want to do is fuck the police. You know? What I mean?
Is that you gonna sing that to her? You gonna sing Miss Officer to Kamala? That I thought that was debunked. Miracle.
That was a joke to set up for Farouk.
Okay. Oh, that's Kamala coming to get you.
Wow.
Lock me up, Miss Harris. Lock me up, Miss Harris.
Lord God.
Woo! Cause I don't know, man. It's just something about she just
he said the blowout and the confidence.
She looking lang. I thought I want to
She's fun and
she said she earned his vote with that one.
Just when she stepped up on the thing, you know what I'm saying?
I said, listen, come on.
Hot girl summer,
Hot girl Harris.
So look,
are you the one she's making up?
Hottie Harris? Maybe Hottie Harris.
Listen.
So she also did this interview on CNN, and this was, one of the talking points that the Republicans had was Kamala Harris was not doing interviews when she was going to do an interview. Trump was doing all these rambling press conferences, so she finally sat down. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to speak to CNN, and CNN asked her about Trump's comments about her blackness or lack thereof at the National Association of Black Journalists. Do you have that clip, Fruit?
You have never interacted with him, met him face to face. That's going to change soon. But what I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah. Same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
That's it.
Was that enough? I mean, should she
You see how she answered that question? She was very mindful. She was very cute, very demure.
very demure. And that it's fascinating because I guess it was Politico had posted a thing saying like Harris evades questions about her identity. And, we've seen this conversation, particularly on like Black MAGA Twitter about, Kamala Harris and is she black? And there are clips where she said, obviously she has dual identities, right?
Yeah.
But they brought up clips where she was saying she was South Asian and this is the thing. And like now she's becoming black. And we just had a clip.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
Two clips. Yeah.
We had two clips where Kamala Harris spoke in Detroit yesterday and she spoke in Pittsburgh, and it seemed that there was a little bit different.
There was a discrepancy in her syntax.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Can
syntax.
you play those clips, my brother?
Yes.
This is Detroit.
You better thank a union member
Come on, Kamala. Come on, sister.
for the 5-day work.
That was Sister Kamala right there.
What happened?
I don't know what.
You better thank a union member.
Church Kamala.
5-day work.
That's HBCU Harris right there.
You better thank a union member.
That's
for
Howard
sick
Harris.
leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave.
Yes.
You better thank a union member for vacation.
Come on, Kamala.
Thank you.
And
Now
this is Pittsburgh, which is 5 hours later, but we'll talk about it.
Thank unions for sick leave. Thank unions for paid family leave.
You didn't see a lot of color in the crowd in Pittsburgh.
It was like Detroit was Lowry's. Pittsburgh was just like
regular
was just seasoned salt and pepper.
Just regular salt, just one dash, just a tiny dash.
That was Mrs. Dash.
Lowry's and Mrs. Dash. Oh my God. Lord have mercy. So again, MAGA people kind of posted this, and I'm coming to you, Miracle. Should she have, or does Kamala need to have like a broader discussion about her ethnicity or like how she shows up?
Always ask me these questions.
I mean, well, as a black woman,
don't be trying to DEI me for an answer.
Wow.
Oh wow. Sorry. Sorry, Miracle.
No, I do think that sometimes folks are told to present a certain way for a certain crowd, you know, and you are told, you know, it's just like you're code switching.
Yeah.
I think it was unnecessary because like people in Pittsburgh would have responded the same to either way she did her engagement and enunciation. And if she listed the
Detroit and Pittsburgh are very different.
These are union workers, right? These are people who have rallied, who have fought for union rights,
her base.
who are going through a strike, even here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So that same still preacher style engagement, I think would have been routed. Like I've been in a situation where I have had to advocate against steel workers. When I tell you a rowdy bunch, a rowdy group of people, they don't care for the polish. They're like, listen, tell me.
Rowdy,
listen,
Iron City Beer versus Rowdy Colt 45.
It's still the same
kind of different.
thing.
A little bit.
You're still
different.
You're still talking about it. You gotta think about it. There's so many, whether it's the Nippon Steel merger that people are worried about, where it's the West Penn nurses, whether it's the UPMC strike, whether it's the Post-Gazette strike. There are so many things going on. So I think having someone not yelling, but really talking about what unions have fought for, what they are fighting for.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get happy. Even Sean Fain, however you say it, he speaks kind of like how she did in Detroit, all over the country, and people love it.
But could this be a situation where
I think she just felt more comfortable in Detroit? Like I love Detroit.
when you're around black people, like you said, sometimes you just naturally switch into your black conversation because
the
you're
ancestors
around.
just hold you and hug you.
And you
feel the warmth and the love.
I don't think people that look like you. You're right, and so you're probably having she probably had a bunch of conversations before she even got to the stage that were primarily with black people, and so you go, you know, I don't think it was like a purposeful thing where she was like, in Detroit, I'm going to be the black Kamala, and then in Pittsburgh, I'm going to be just
the ethnically ambiguous one.
I also think that it is a part of this idea that when you feel home, you feel more comfortable.
Yes.
Because even for me, as someone with a speech impediment, I'm always trying to make sure I enunciate and pronunciate words correctly when I'm out and about, when I'm in business. But when I'm with my friends or other organizers that I've built a camaraderie with, you best believe I'm using slang. I'm shortening my sentences. I'm just maybe cuss word here, cuss word there. I'm just more comfortable. And so my
she said she goes from mugshot miracle to motherfucking miracle.
We'll be out there. And it's kind of funny because I was with some people the other week and I just started cursing. And I said, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to do it. Because they never heard me curse before. And I was just like, I got.
It's funny because I hear she cusses me out at least once a day.
They didn't ask you all that. But I was just saying, these group of people were not privy to that side.
You do a good job of hiding your image, hiding your true self from the general public. Yeah, I want everybody to know that Miracle is a menace and should be treated as such at all times.
But I promise you 3 good weeks, and I feel like I've done 65%.
I'm about to say you're batting 50-50.
And again, you were talking about it, Farouk, as well. When you're at home, when you feel like you're around people that you know, that you're more comfortable around, you will get into that piece. And again, code switching is something most black people in America
have to you know what I mean. Every black person, I think this is what will add to Kamala's relatability is that every black person that goes to an all-white office knows exactly what she did.
Yes.
Every black person ever had their mom put on a white voice to pick up the phone and talk to somebody on the phone.
Yes.
A bill collector at a school or whomever knows exactly what Kamala just did. And furthermore, to the point, this is a 5-hour difference. So she's probably tired. Maybe she can have the same energy. You know what I mean? She's allowed to be a little, you know what I mean?
The ancestors would tell her to sit down.
Yeah, they would tell her, rest your voice for Philadelphia. If that voice come back in Philadelphia, we know, okay, she's definitely a little bit more comfortable around a black audience. And Detroit is a predominantly black city. Pittsburgh is not. So you're definitely going to address the crowd differently.
Yeah, did you have a comment, Trouble? I mean, do you feel like these attacks on kind of Kamala's ethnicity or her background are having any effect on folks?
Not really. I think they're tired. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of commend Kamala for not even engaging or interacting with those questions. Cause it's come on, bro. We're here. This is the last thing that we're trying to discuss and hear people talk about is her blackness and shit like that.
Yeah. It's funny because Trump, on the other hand, had a clip where he wanted to call out one of the good black people, one of the surrogates, one of the black surrogates for Donald Trump.
Black surrogates is crazy.
I mean, if you wanted slaves, servants, you know what I'm saying? Man servants. I mean, come on, bro.
Slave.
That's basically what they are.
Man.
I mean, if you're gonna go up,
he said this shit is like Django Part 2.
hey, bro, if you're gonna go up there and try to make an argument that black people are better off under Jim Crow
absolutely.
Than now, and like you literally like are trying, and you know, like, and you got a white wife, a woman who they would have lynched you for even looking at, whistling at, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro, like you're absolutely insane.
Absolutely.
So to me, you are somebody, either you're like a willful idiot, or even worse, you're somebody that knows you're putting on a show and a lie. Yeah. And so you accept what, I mean, listen to what Donald Trump says about Byron Donalds of Florida. I said, listen to what's going on, brother?
The anti-blackness muted it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, here we go.
Look who we have. Byron, said that, please. Superstar of the future. He's already a superstar, but he's a superstar of the future. Byron Donalds, Florida. Wow, that's nice to have you here. That's good. He's great. And he's great. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. That one is smart.
Jesus
You have smart
Christ.
ones and you have some that aren't quite so good.
Jesus Christ.
But we have a group of people that are really
That
great.
one is
Look who
smart.
we have.
Wow. You have some smart ones.
That nigga right there, him smart.
He was smart. He was.
Wow. But it's also a piece where this is Trump in Pennsylvania, right? So it's also a thing of like, where are your black Pennsylvania people? Where are the black people in Pennsylvania that you could bring up and say, here's somebody from Philadelphia, here's somebody from Pittsburgh, here's a black person that's like on my side. So he has to import his blacks. He has to bring his blacks.
Imported black
To Florida. He has to go to Florida.
He has to put.
Sounds familiar, right? Sounds like
I'm about to say, that sounds like a tried and true tactic right there.
Bring one from Florida and bring him up there and say like, this is one of the smart ones. You have again commentary on Trump, smart ones, good ones.
I mean,
just more racism. I mean, it's just
fuck,
man. It's just like I don't see how black Trump supporters don't see this and see how obvious it is that he has no respect for black people.
Right. Correct.
You know what I'm saying he's talking like textbook old school white racist.
Yes.
Trying his hardest not to say that nigga is a smart one.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And it goes back to this kind of plantation. And again, here's Byron Donalds. He has to know like that, damn, he's a smart one. But it's like, you know, you want to be, you know, if you're Byron Donalds, you want to be like that acceptable Negro. You know, I'm not like these other black people. I'm smart. I'm with you. You know,
I think this is one thing that Trump is really good at is he's good at just giving you enough racism to make you question whether it's racist or not. Because Reagan did the same thing, and I've always drawn parallels between Trump and Reagan. Like he says just enough to make it innocuous, but like the coded language is there. But it's just like what he said there, it sounds racist, but you couldn't use that against him and say you just said a racist thing. Because he could always say, no, I didn't. Yeah. I just said he's one of the smart people. Like, you know what I mean? He could always say a very innocuous, descriptive statement. And Trump has been doing that as kind of like this little breadcrumb to these dog whistle racist tactics.
It's funny because they were saying like one of the other things that he's doing is he's holding all of his rallies in sundown towns, right?
Right, yeah.
He like how Michigan, La Crosse, Wisconsin, and Johnstown, Pennsylvania were all sundown towns. And so again, like they're not, I mean, obviously they're probably places where, you know, black people don't necessarily want to be and feel comfortable. And I was in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and dealt with straight up racism.
Oh, that was the plane situation.
La Crosse, Wisconsin was when the hotel shuttle didn't want me to get into the hotel shuttle.
Yeah, I remember that.
And basically like called the hotel to make sure I was there and then just let a white guy just hop in and he wasn't even at the hotel. It was a crazy situation. Man. So it is, but again, it's subtle, right? It's subtle enough where you could just say, hey, I'm just doing a rally in these places. but it's a signal to these white supremacists that I'm with you. I'm down with you, but not too much. That's interesting. I wonder who's who's behind this subtle racism.
Stephen Miller.
Yeah,
I'm about to say.
Fascinating.
Probably.
Well, okay, you had something, Miracle?
I just keep thinking of like Avril Lavigne, the "I'm With You" song, and it's like Trump, like playing that to all those like white supremacists. Like
yes. Well, also Trump. I think again, like it's really like it kind of like what you said about white men in this country. Like this is probably about the 10th crime like he's openly admitted to, right? And he's still walking around even though he has all of these felonies. I guess they refiled charges on him. He had charges about around the documents dismissed, and they refiled charges. But Trump, in an interview in 4K, admitted to interfering in the election.
Said he had a right to.
Right. He says, actually the good news is, it's so crazy that my poll numbers go up. Whoever heard you get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it, you get indicted and your poll numbers go up. When people get indicted, your poll numbers go down. So here's Trump saying on the record in a recorded conversation that he had every right to interfere with the presidential election. Miracle Jones, the man has already been indicted for interfering with the presidential election. Is this some type of smoking gun possibly to put this man in jail? No,
because I think that the Supreme Court said like you can't take away a president's immunity when he commits crimes when it's associated with his job or something.
Right. Official act.
Official act. So I think he's trying to argue that interfering with the election was an official act.
Yes.
Again, Trump's biggest downfall is himself.
Yes.
And the fact that he keeps talking. But I think it was you who said that like that Supreme Court decision is the reason why he can't be president again.
I think that the powers that be, and meaning that I think folks, again, there was, you had mentioned Kamala, there was a report that came out that said like 25% of Republicans view her favorably. I think this is one of the reasons she's able to raise all of this money, because I think these, billionaires in power, if Trump can get into that seat with immunity, he's sticking everybody up.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to demand on some mafia type stuff. And it's like, if you don't do this, and this, and that, Facebook, I'll shut you down.
And that's
if you don't do this, and this, Apple, I'll shut you down. And I think he's too unpredictable that these people that really have these billions that really kind of are making a lot of these decisions behind the scenes, I don't think they want somebody that they can't control.
Yeah. I think like what's terrifying about Trump's potential returning to the Oval Office with this new immunity and the official acts, basically, giving him free reign to do anything, is not only the pardons that he can give out, but the appointments that he can make.
Yes.
Right? Like the appointments for the Supreme Court, for the FBI, for the CIA, for the NSA, right? These things. And then not only that, like you said, like kind of bring terror to like Apple and a lot of these big billion-dollar corporations. Like he can really bring upon, which is like the Third Reich Manifest, or like the Fourth Reich Manifest. And there's something about that, you know what I mean? He already talked about his first day in office, he was going to be a dictator. He already talked about the people he was going to deport. He's already talked about the rights he's going to strip away. I mean, all this really is just like part and parcel of indoctrinating America with Project 2020-25. And all these other terrifying things that are just on the horizon that are bringing like the dawn of this dystopian universe out of like a George Orwell novel. It's like we're right at the precipice of.
Look, play this clip. I just sent you this clip.
Okay.
And this is a clip of a podcaster named Tim Pool, right?
Okay.
And I guess he's talking to a woman named Lori Loomer, who is like an absolutely insane Trump supporter, but somebody white supremacist, absolutely like, crazy, but somebody that Trump has met with and given help to increase her platform, right?
Yeah.
And so they're talking about what they want to do once Trump gets elected. Can you play that clip?
White supremacists.
Yes.
Talking about destroying the world.
Yes.
Should Democrats be in jail? No question. When Donald Trump gets elected, should he start locking them up? No question. Should there be lists of Democrats that need to go to jail? 100%. And the reason for that is they've committed crimes. We need to make sure that when Donald Trump wins, we've got an attorney general, a deputy attorney general, a head of the CIA and the FBI.
What did I just say?
Kash Patel would be fantastic. We can have attorney general. There's some names floating around. And then they can start having their investigators and the feds issuing subpoenas, pulling up evidence, and with real evidence, bring them to judges for warrants. Then these people can spend three years of their lives fighting tooth and nail for the crime against the government for crimes they committed, and we can prove.
Crime?
And the reason why we put them on trial is that we can show the whole world we will uncover what you've done. We will make sure everyone knows, and you will be held accountable for it.
Not just jail, they should get the death penalty. You know, we actually used to have the punishment for treason in this country.
She said, not just jail.
The death penalty.
They should get. So again,
should Democrats be in jail? No question.
This is that mentality, right?
Yeah.
So again, and this is something that not only this is something that Elon Musk is also pushing. Elon Musk just put a picture out of like Kamala Harris wearing a communist outfit and talking about this is her plans to take over, you know what I'm saying? And so again, it's like they want these, he also put something out, Elon Musk, about like only these alpha white men can really run things.
Which is crazy because it's like, bro, like you couldn't win a fight to save your life. Like I seen how you got a bad built butch body. Like you like Mr. Krabs without the shell, my nigga. Like you look bad. And for you to have all that money and to still be that out of shape, that don't make no sense to me.
He probably can go get him some abs, he can do like Drake. He probably can go get some abs.
But that doesn't lend the functionality.
It doesn't, but I'm just saying but this is this idea that like, yo, here comes this black woman, right? And it's like, only these white men, only these like wealthy white men can really run shit because that's how it's always been. Now, that's not to say that Kamala is some type of radical progressive. Clearly she's not. I mean, she's basically saying that you mentioned, I mean, she's on record as saying, I'll put a Republican in my cabinet. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Which again is like, why? But again, I mean, because, they're not asking Donald Trump, are you going to put a Democrat? Right. And he will say, hell no. To hell with those Democrats. So it is weird. But again, that's that appeal to the center. Yeah. But it is fascinating to see, like, they want, like, carnage. You got a bunch of them are wearing.
Great word.
They're wearing shirts that say dictator on day one. So they're not even concerned. They're not concerned with election or election laws, rules, or integrity. They just want their man to win. And when he wins, they want to see people just put in jail or possibly murdered. What is how do we push back against this, Miracle? Can we?
Yes, but I do think when people talk about lists, we talk about coming after people. Yes. We have to be mindful of this is what's already going on. Whether it is making about the list about people trying to get abortions and abortion access. True. Whether it is asking for the list for Palestinian organizers and activists.
Yeah, you talked about like J.D. Vance wanted to know who all was what?
Traveling and menstruating.
Yeah, this shit is crazy.
Tracking the flow apps. So all of these lists are things that are already out there. And that's one of the reasons why when people talk about tracking people, when these colleges are talking about tracking who's coming onto campus, tracking what what students belong to certain organizations, when we're talking about making sure that people hand over lists and hand over membership lists, these are the things that people want to use for nefarious reasons. True. We just saw in Pittsburgh what happens when people find out what your political beliefs are and how people try to come after you. And so it's the same idea that we're now supposed to start being fearful of our neighbors. Yeah. And then hopefully one day we can turn our neighbors into the police or track them down. But like they're advocating for murder. Right. They're advocating to kill people. Yes. So we have gone from, I don't believe what you believe to like, let me create this list of people that I don't like. So hopefully my person wins and I get to kill you now.
Yes. Yes. And to the point where, Donald Trump had a rally in Pennsylvania where he was attacking the media like he does in all of his rallies. And he attacked the media to a point that one of his followers actually tried to go and physically attack the media that was in attendance. Did you want to play that, Farouk?
The whole election, actually, in 2016 we did great, but 2020 we did much better generally. Since Kamala and the media don't want to talk about her radical record, we will. Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. This is when.
That's beautiful. That's all right. That's okay. No, he's on our side.
He's on our side, but
David, don't we?
We condemn political violence.
At Butler, an amazing thing happened. You had two American flags, very far apart, held up, I think, by different cranes. They were very big flags, beautiful flags that they were waving.
Okay, you can kill it. You can kill it. But here's Trump again saying to the I guess the police, he's one of ours. Like, handle him with care. This man was eventually arrested. But again, like, now it's like, do the media that cover Donald Trump, do they have to have security? I know I would want that. And if I was a black person, I certainly wouldn't want to.
A president, a former president, someone who's campaigning for president, co-signing any act of violence, no matter what, is crazy. Like, that is
particularly
insane.
because this dude was shot at.
Yeah, like,
remember when he was shot at and they were like, we have to downplay the rhetoric.
Yeah,
we have to. There was also a funny clip that came out where Trump talked about how mean Kamala Harris was to Mike Pence. Can you play that? Mike Pence was his former vice presidential. That's not supporting him.
Mean Mala.
But I agreed to all these things that I normally wouldn't agree to. Now they have Kamala, who they say has many deficiencies, but she's a nasty person. The way she treated Mike Pence was horrible. The way she treats people is horrible. But the way she treated Justice Kavanaugh during that hearing, in the history of Congress, nobody's been treated that way. But
it's funny because
he looks more orange now. Almost brown.
Well, again, that's probably, he's got heavy makeup when he's on TV. And again, he's getting older. You know what I'm saying? So but the idea that, because, there's people on record that said like Trump was calling Mike Pence a loser. And clearly Trump.
He talked bad to that man.
Well, not only that, I mean, Trump's followers actually
tried to hang him,
tried to murder this man.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't get any meaner than that.
Yeah, like they were calling for his head, man.
He had to escape Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Before this mob grabbed him and hung him from a gallows. But Kamala Harris, again,
I wish we could just go to the universe where that happened just to see what the fallout would be.
No, but again, to be honest, I don't even know at this point if there would, because
that's what I mean. Like, I just want to know what the fallout would be.
But because this is the thing, this man continually speaks on and stokes violence. I mean, here's the guy.
If they would have hung Pence.
Hey, bro, here's a guy. Right. Now, mind you, he is on record, right? His former chief of staff, who was a Marine general, said he called these dudes suckers and losers. He said he didn't want to stand next to injured soldiers because that made him feel bad, right? Said why would these guys even give their lives to this country? This is not a Democrat. This is a Republican that he put as his chief of staff for a year and a half, right? That said this, right? This is a guy who said the Medal of Freedom that I give is much more important than the Medal of Honor. Then he shows up to Arlington Cemetery, one of the most sacred places for soldiers, right?
Yeah.
And they say they have actual rules. You cannot use this. You cannot film here for any type of political purposes.
Yeah.
His people literally pushed past a woman who's trying to enforce these laws, physically moves her out of the way. He goes and shoots videos there. He puts it on TikTok. And again, it's no big deal. It's very, very little outrage. all of these quote unquote soldiers and we love America and America. Could you imagine if Kamala Harris did something similar to, they would be losing their minds. They'd be going crazy. They would say she's not fit for office, but he can do these type of things over and over. And what? You know what I'm saying? They said, I guess like he said he was, do you have that clip? He said it was a setup. Again, man, whose man is this?
But he's always
bad
about veterans since his first run.
Do you have that clip?
The Trump's chief of staff?
No, it was a setup. It's like it's right above the clip. I just put it in there. Trump's visit to Arlington Cemetery, used for campaign. It's right. If you go.
Here we go.
Yes.
Should your campaign have put out those videos and photos?
Well, we have a lot of people. You know, we have people, TikTok people. You know, we're leading the internet. That was the other thing. We're so far above her on the internet.
But on that hallowed ground, should they have put out the images of those?
I don't know what the rules and regulations are.
You should. You're the commander-in-chief.
It could have been them. It could have been the parents. It could have been somebody.
It was your campaign's TikTok, though, that put out the video.
I really don't know anything about it. All I do is I stood there and I said, if you'd like to have a picture, we can have a picture. If somebody did it, this was a setup by the people in the administration that, Trump is coming to Arlington. That looks so bad for us.
Again.
I mean, and that was like, for him to say he doesn't know the rules to this.
Right.
You were literally president of the United States for 4 years. That means you were in charge of the military.
Yes.
That means at the very bare minimum, you should know the protocols and responsibilities to at least Arlington Cemetery. Right?
Yes.
And this is also how he can go about saying my medal is more important than the Medal of Honor. Right.
Yes.
But it's like there was the video earlier where he was talking about wind turbines and bacon and the same thing, and it was like people were questioning his senility, because it was like, yo, he just be rambling up here saying whatever he wants and he doesn't know what's going on. Like, it's really alarming that he could say things like this.
Right. And it's like,
we got wind bacon, and then we got like, you know, this Arlington Cemetery and shit.
And this is where people feel like it's a double standard, right? Because remember how intense the scrutiny was around Joe Biden. Rightfully so, right? When Joe Biden was like any mistake where he called the president of Ukraine. He called him Putin.
Yeah.
He called Kamala like vice president.
But that was
Trump.
crazy. That was crazy.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But it was a lot of scrutiny around, is Biden mentally capable of doing this? And a lot of times people are saying we don't see that same scrutiny around Trump when he does these type of things. Like, oh, I don't know what the rules are. A woman tried to tell you and your campaign the rules, and you literally like physically tossed her aside.
Said, nah, I'm cool.
So you knew what the rules were. You knew what you were trying to do. And again, it's just like Miracle said, you're on record just disrespecting soldiers. You yourself, like, literally got a false doctor to give you some type of a piece where you didn't have to go to Vietnam.
Right.
Like you had bone spurs. They gave you some type of medical diagnosis, so he didn't have to serve. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, what are we really talking about? But again, this is the power of white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? The power of white supremacy is, this is the power of white supremacy. That Trump can get, and this is, again, like, it's funny in a sense of like, I think when folks look back on this, we might be able to credit Donald Trump for absolutely destroying the Republican Party. Like, he's destroying it.
He's the Trojan horse.
I mean, it seems like that, right? At this point, he's destroying this. I mean, they're losing, like, because he is able to, because he's Donald Trump, replace the head of the RNC, right? The Republican National, what is it?
Republican National Convention.
The head of the RNC, he was able to push the head out and put his daughter. Push the head out. Look at this. Come on, Salty. Come on.
Oh, man.
Come on. But that's not, again, he was able to push the former head or chief of the RNC and replace it with his daughter-in-law, Laura Trump. And what is she doing?
Trying to be Celine Dion.
In the midst of them losing, right? Kamala Harris has gains in Florida. She has gains in Arizona. She has gains in like these gains in Texas, right?
She's making all kinds of gains.
All these places.
Gains in Farouk.
Yes, gains, right. She's got the Farouk vote. You know what I'm saying? His second vote will be for Kamala. You know what I'm saying? A vote of lust. You know what I'm saying?
But a vote nonetheless.
A lust vote, but a vote nonetheless. She actually put out a music video. This is Laura Trump's. When I say singing, I'm putting air quotes, right?
I'm about to make a song.
Did you want to play?
I'm about to drop a song.
Laura Trump's video, my brother?
What's it called? Heroes?
Yeah.
Without your bravery, we're all out of luck.
Oh my God.
No, this can't be denied.
Can we bring back the January 6th choir? Right?
That's for the remix?
Wow. No, I'm just saying they're better than this. Like,
it takes a lot to put your last and everybody first.
Hey, yo.
This has got to be.
It's like, yo, how are you flat with auto-tune, baby?
This has
Like,
got to be embezzlement.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be embezzlement.
I don't understand. You're at your planning meeting, and
Yes.
we gotta do something.
They're losing
to engage, and you're like, I know, I'm gonna go record a song.
Yes.
Like, did the RNC pay for studio time?
Yes.
Does the RNC have an engineer and a studio? That's what I want to know.
And then this is the thing, Miracle. Like, why not? Like, you can put the song out after the election, right? You would think, like, shouldn't you be focused on the fact that JD Vance continually says dumb shit, right? that Trump is rambling. You're losing.
I didn't even know there was a Laura Trump.
On turning out votes
Yes.
or finding a way to live my dreams. I feel like Republicans right now are like scamming.
Yes.
And they're doing like basically these are theater kids who are living their dreams.
Yes.
They wanted to be actors and actresses.
Yes.
They didn't have the talent or
Yes.
the connections, and now they're just like running for office
Yes.
and just getting all of this money to like create movies, create plays, go on speaking tours,
Yes.
create little world tours,
Yes.
and they really don't care if they get votes or not because no there's
I'm
absolutely
on
no
her
way.
Instagram right now,
Yes.
and
Of
I'm
course
just
you
so
are.
confused of like what she does and who she is. Like, what is she?
This is like the textbook definition of marrying up and marrying to solidify your position in life.
It was funny because people were like putting out the picture of when everybody had the thing on their ear. Is like, this is how you listen to the song. Again, it is a horrible, but again, it has to be some type of embezzlement.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone use music as a backup plan. She was like, you know what? Now that I'm here, just in case this doesn't work out.
Yes.
And it's not going to.
Yeah.
Neither choice.
Drop some music.
Neither career choice is gonna work out for you, baby. I'm sorry, but
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's maddening because like if we had a different style of government, this could be like a joke.
Like
right?
the one Trump wants?
This
Yes.
could be like
It should be a joke.
Yeah.
reality TV show. But these people literally are determining whether we live or die.
Yes. Yeah.
Whether
Yes.
or not we have health insurance.
Yes.
Whether we have access
Yes.
to housing, to retirement, to Social Security.
Yes.
Miracle,
Like this is like mind-boggling because the seriousness of these elections.
Yes.
People are so just disenfranchised.
Yes.
And tuned out by it.
Yes.
I think these shenanigans just make people just feel like frustrated.
Yeah.
I feel like I just don't want to be bothered with any of this. But it's like there was a report today that was saying that in Louisiana they're taking isopropyl like out of the medical supply. So now people who are pregnant have now lost another medicine that will support them if they're having a miscarriage or if they get into a car accident or any type of pain and trauma while they are pregnant to even save their pregnancy or to save their lives. These rules that folks are putting into place, these conservatives, are not only killing people, but making people have excruciatingly painful deaths. There's reports of women bleeding out in hospitals, driving from hospital to hospital for hours on end, trying to get support. And so what is going on is very, very serious, but we can't even talk about that because we're dealing with people who want to make rap songs and rap beefs and want to make TikToks instead of actually talking about how they're poisoning our water, they're poisoning our air, they're rolling back protections, and now we don't even have enough of a living income to ensure that people are going to be able to buy homes. One of the largest growing populations of homelessness are our seniors.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the idea that like you work hard, you have a retirement, and you're able to, to retire or whatever. That's been stripped away.
Hey, Miracle, she's going to give you these bars, okay? She's got bars.
No.
Somebody said every note is a violation of the Geneva Convention.
Like, it's just madness.
It is. It's like you said,
madness.
It almost feels like it's some type of simulation, right? It's like you look at, things happen and you're like, this is real. This cannot be real. They're literally planning to take over the entire government if they get elected. It's like, it is so, it's right now.
I wonder what the soundtrack is going to sound like after that.
It's going to sound like horrible, bad singing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You have
who's A&R in that shit?
You have the beginning of the sound. Obviously somebody without ears, like, you know what I'm saying?
Somebody who wants to check.
Yeah, true.
I feel like at this point, people are just like, I don't care what it is.
Somebody said this video is a hate crime.
I just need to check. So people there's going to be some producer out there who's going to produce these songs.
It is pretty wild. We did have an earlier conversation about Black Trump supporters. And you mentioned there was a story about a Black Trump supporter who claims he was called a slave by a right-wing organization he was canvassing for.
The slave shit.
I am surprised.
Yes. Carl Baxter, a MAGA fan who heads up a county Republican club in Florida, is suing the Koch brothers and America for Prosperity for alleged discrimination. This is a diehard Trumper in Florida says he was discriminated against by a right-wing political advocacy group claiming he was called a slave.
It's almost like that part of the world isn't for you. Wow. It's almost like we were trying to tell you.
But again, right.
Does that make you not vote for Trump now?
Oh, he's probably still going to, again, I think he's probably going to blame it on
that particular person,
this particular organization, and not, Donald Trump.
But it's just like you said before, if all the racists think he's a racist and all the racists are voting for him.
Yes.
Wouldn't you just think that, hey, maybe he is?
I would think so. If you're showing up.
He's not that black, right? He's not the racist. He's the good black.
He's one of the good ones. He's one of the small ones.
And I think this idea.
How dare you call me a slave? I'm the good black person. You know what I'm saying?
I'm the help. I'm not the slave.
It's just wow. Cognitive dissonance people have to go through to justify bigotry.
Yeah.
Like I know sometimes I talked about how I grew up very conservative, and the idea was well, yes, they're racist, but you'll be able to do your own self-determination, have your own money, because people respect green even if they don't like black, right? Mm-hmm. And so this idea that you're just told to ignore the racism and white supremacy because you can inoculate yourself from it if you just pull yourself over your bootstraps is ridiculous. And people time and time again keep being shown that the party does not want you and will throw you out. After Omarosa, there should be no black person.
Yeah, really.
In the
only black person you see around Trump now is that girl who was at the Chick-fil-A he walked into. Again, you can't. Amber Rose. these are the black people that you are able to cobble together. You know what I'm saying? Right. She's not black. My bad. It says Baxter felt that this group was not giving him credit for the hours of the doors that he knocked on.
Oh, so he said, what's that sound like?
He said he called his supervisor. He said his
called the overseer,
Roxanne Buckles, who is white, according to Baxter, then proceeded to call him a slave. She said, quote, "I know you are doing the work and I can see the doors that you are hitting on my iPad on my side. At least you are working as a slave. But at least you're getting paid. Many slaves today do not get paid. Many used to never get paid. Are you a slave?" What? And he was surprised.
I am surprised. I don't even know what to say.
He said he was highly offended. But again, you're working with openly racist people. You're on the side of openly racist people. It was like, remember the queer black guy who went to like the MAGA thing, and then they called him like they used like gay epithets against him, and he was like, hey, these MAGA people called me. It's like, what did you think?
Yeah.
Oh, you thought they were going to accept you for being like this black queer? You thought like, again, oh, I'm one of the good blacks. I'm with you, right? Don't you see my hat? Like, you think that we're going to accept you because you had a hat on?
Like, bro, they said they don't like you. They don't like the blacks. They don't like the gays.
Yes, and you're both. And obviously that's not going to,
Well, speaking of that, whatever happened to that one kid?
What one kid?
Herschel Walker's son. He's still doing something?
Where is he? Yeah, that is true.
He's still on social media, but
is
it's like
the
theatrics are gone. Like, because his dad's not there, but he's still conservative, right? He's a gay Republican. Like there's a lot of them out there. Like, people forget that the Log Cabin Republicans are one of the largest.
Is he a Log Cabin Republican?
He is. I don't know if he's a formal member, but yeah, like even here in Pennsylvania, some of the most prominent Republicans are white gay Republicans.
Why do they call themselves the Log Cabin Republicans?
That the Lincoln Log Cabins, but then like it's the whole like stop.
Oh,
so it's like a whole
really for
his Republican historical thing.
Why would you ask that question?
Well, I didn't think about it until I asked the question.
Yes.
Then I was like, oh, it makes sense.
So anyway.
But then like Texas was like, we don't even want y'all in a part of our Republican tent.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
wow.
What you have actually, and it's been.
This is what I tune into the show for, is these little history lessons.
My personal chagrin is a lot of these Republicans.
Chagrin? Look at America.
Oh,
yes.
Here we go. Have been kicked out of the Republican Party. And so Democrats have been like, oh, come.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
And they're the ones who are doing the messaging now. They're the ones who are pushing policy now because, like, they're the Democrats' priority because you're like, oh, we have all of these former Trump people. But it's like Republicans are still at heart Republicans, and you put them in front of Democratic Party, letting them run as Democrats, putting them in Democrat power deciding positions is what's making the Democratic Party more right and conservative. And you've seen this push to not to say abortion anymore, not to say trans or transgender anymore, not to do like diversity, equity, inclusion anymore. And it's because of all these new Republicans who've been hired to run as Democratic operatives. And it's like,
well, and it's probably enraged. Right. Well, again, and it's like, it seems like Trump and Vance and these Republicans are doing their best to push more people out.
Did you say
of the
Trump
Republican Party
and Vance?
Yes, because Vance, again,
my bad.
Another JD Vance video, and obviously, like JD Vance.
He just loves to put his foot.
I mean,
in his
this
mouth.
man is so focused on women's vagina and whether or not a child is. I mean, again, like it is very, very weird.
Your couch can't have kids, my nigga. That's what you should be focused on. Like all your smoke should be for the couch then.
But I wonder why, who told him? Again, it was like, this is going to be his thing. Hey, bro, you want to be successful? Just keep attacking women that don't have children.
But for a man who is in drag to have these views, it's so quizzical to me.
Well, again, bro, it's like he's trying to come up with some argument as to why these like Christian values are the better values, right? And the way he does it is to continually like basically diss women. So just play the video, because not only does he diss women that don't have kids, he's calling people that want racial equity and gender equity miserable. And
life meaning.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Of course, they all find that value system leads to misery, leads to unhappiness. And so I think that what happens is, like, whenever you really pursue something, right? Like, let's say a doctor gives you a medicine to cure a disease and it doesn't work, right? The patient gets worse. Well, you can conclude one of two things. Either the medicine isn't working, or the patient was so sick that what they need is even more of the medicine that you originally prescribed. And I think the gender inequity stuff is like, we need more of the medicine. Okay, clearly this value set has made me a miserable person who can't have kids because I already, passed the biological period when it was possible. And I live in a 1,200 square foot apartment in New York and I pay $5,000 a month for it. But I'm really better than these other people. What I'm going to do is project like racial and gender sensitivities on the rest of them. And like the reason that our society is broken is because these people don't think the exact way that I think. Even though the way that I think has made me a miserable person, I just need to make more people think like that. So we're going to teach this in our schools, in our universities, even in our elementary schools, because once everybody agrees with me, then everything will finally come full circle.
To me, what's fascinating about that is he's basically admitting that we do not have gender equity or racial equity in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's basically admitting that. And it's almost like you should accept that fact, right? We should accept the fact that there is no gender equity and there is no racial equity, and we should just like suck it up like that, trying to, and believe me, there has been times with the pursuit of racial equity.
Has left you bitter and miserable.
Will feel like you're ramming your head up against a wall.
Absolutely.
Against these, different policies that because that's what we do every day, right? But the idea that like, you're miserable, and like not having children makes you miserable. Like living by yourself makes you, it is fascinating that this is how this, and again, this is, if Donald Trump is elected president, mind you, he would be the oldest president in the history of the United States of America. Mm-hmm. He would go into office as the oldest president, and then if something were to happen to him,
J.D. Vance,
this would be your president.
You know what his first act as president would be? To reupholster the Oval Office.
But I think it's kind of interesting how...
Give me some more sexy couches in here. These couches aren't sexy enough.
All couches are equal to him. All couches matter.
Like his whole thing is like people need to have children and people need to...
He don't want nothing but love seats.
Right. But you're like you said, it's the idea that like your life is meaningless unless you have... Like only a child will give your life some type of meaning.
Be that as it may. But none of his policies are making life better.
Yes.
For people to have children, to raise their children, to be able to feed and clothe and house their children.
Yes.
That he's advocating for. In fact, the policies he fights for kind of ensures your kids are going to get sick and you're not going to be able to afford to take them to the doctor.
Yes.
You're not going to have health care if they get sick. You're not going to be able to have a social security net in case something happens to you. And a kind of relies on this concept that like nothing bad will ever happen to a parent.
Yes.
Like you get married, you have children, your life becomes complete, and there will never be a car accident. There'll never be a death. There'll never be anything bad that is going to interrupt your ability to raise and rear your children. This man just does not live in the real world.
No.
And on top of that, people are miserable not because of the gender and racial equity not coming into fruition. It is because of the racism, the homophobia, and the misogyny that's actively harming people. We pay women in America less. We pay minorities less.
Yes.
We have people who are deemed as not white doing more front service jobs that possibly cause them injury.
Yes.
Remember during COVID, it was mostly Black and brown women who were dying because they were getting sick from COVID from going to work. When we think of even the military usually has Black and brown people as doing the front offensive, so they're usually the ones who are shot and harmed and injured. So racial equity, no matter where you are, permeates. And so maybe if you don't want people to be miserable, you say like, let's just do equity, and then let's just make everybody have a life they can live and afford.
Right. And then this is a guy who's has biracial children. Again, this is what's so
I always keep forgetting about that.
His children are going to have to deal with these issues as well. So it's just a fascinating piece when you look at, J.D. Vance. We do have some quick Black excellence. Shout out to Isaac Hayes III, who sued Donald Trump for the use the Trump campaign was using his father's music, Isaac Hayes' song, Hold On, I'm Coming. A judge basically just issued a preliminary injunction preventing the Trump campaign for using that song. Shout out to him as well. We have our white pages. Our white pages today is called Toxic, you mentioned it. Toxic Communities Miracle, Environmental Racism, Industrial Pollution, and Residential Mobility. Dorceta E. Taylor. It says from St. Louis to New Orleans from Baltimore to Oklahoma City, there are poor and minority neighborhoods so beset by pollution that just living there can be hazardous to one's health. Unfortunately,
that's like Pittsburgh, worst air quality in the country, man.
Pittsburgh has some issues, right? It was just an orange alert. It's funny because people was like, did that mean Donald Trump was coming? Because it was an orange alert. But that was about, the toxic healthcare. So toxic communities breed up. And that's one of the reasons why, just being black means that where you live could be damaging to your own health. So with that being said, do we have any closing thoughts?
I mean, he already did his fact for the day, so I don't know.
Oh, what his fact about how nuts and almonds?
I learned is a seed. Almond is a seed.
Yeah, cashews are fruit.
A seed,
A seed.
A seed.
Oh, wow.
Like your seed salty, huh?
Seed.
Like that salty seed.
I was told mine was fruity.
Trouble? Never like seeds? I don't know. What do you
mean?
Never love salt?
I don't have any comment on that. I would like to invite people to our last Fridays on Deck.
Yes.
Yeah.
This Friday at Liberty Green. It's going to be dope. We're just closing out the summer, closing out the activities, and just bring your kids, bring your friends, bring your family members. Let's have a good time.
Yes, and that's Liberty Green from 7 to 9 p.m. Liberty Green is like a block away from the Target in East Liberty. We're going to have free food, ice cream, activities. Come out, spend that last, as we're going into wintertime or fall.
Yeah, we skipped the whole season.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
As we're going out of fall, I suffer from seasonal depression, man.
I feel it.
As we're going to fall, yes.
I would also like to add that Social Status is generously donating 35 pairs of sneakers for our last Fridays on Deck. So thank you to
dope.
Great neighborhood organization, Social Status.
One of the last remaining black-owned businesses in East Liberty.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. With that being said,
hold on. Zebras are black with white stripes.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
Zebras.
Yeah.
You're saying
Zebras. Do you say Debra or Deborah?
With that being said, and we did. Oh, we did have a black male. The subject is "No man is supreme." Therefore, there's no such thing as white supremacy. Please stop giving that term energy. Peace. Too late. We've already given that term 200 episodes.
Right. Wow. And I'm the supreme Asiatic intelligently divine.
And
there
next
we go.
week, we will have our special debate reaction episode. So we will see y'all next week. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you want to tune again. Peace. One hood, y'all.